Weapon triangle has existed in the vast majority of Fire Emblem games and has been one of the franchise's most defining mechanics. It is a rock, paper, scissors style of combat in which swords are more effective against axes, axes are more effective against lances, and lances are more effective against swords. Advantages can include making your weapon hits more accurate or doing more damage, while the opposite is also true. Being at a disadvantage means it's harder to hit enemies or you do less damage overall. Sounds simple, right? Well, that's one of the many strengths that has drawn many to the Fire Emblem franchise. As a strategy game, Fire Emblem's appeal compared to other games of its type, like Final Fantasy Tactics and Disgaea, is the simplicity of the combat. This gets the player to engage more with the game instead of being bogged down in menus and character screens reading stat sheets. Yes, in higher difficulties you'll get that experience in Fire Emblem as well, but from a casual perspective, you don't really need any of that with the weapon triangle. Much like Pokemon's type advantage system, it is a way to streamline decision making, and that is a hidden value of this system. At the start of every map or mission as you play Fire Emblem, you're dropped in and you have to make your first move. How do you do it? Do you analyze every enemy unit on the map? Do you find any priority units that you need to hunt down and take care of immediately? How long will that take you? There are many ways to approach a map based on the player's preferences. If you want to be the most optimal, you may be in the planning phase for a while. And if you are that type of person, you're probably going to have a lot of fun doing it. But what about the other half? Others will want to get to the execution phase as fast as possible. And with the weapon triangle system, a player can do that while at the same time making a generally good decision. An impatient player at a glance can take a look at the map, see a section of the map and be like, oh hey, there's a bunch of axe units here, so I should send someone who can use a sword. And they'll generally be making the right decision. In this instance, the weapon triangle acts as a guide to get players to the right answer in how they should be moving around in this particular encounter. Now in harder difficulties, this can also be utilized to punish a player who didn't look at each enemy's in depth. Perhaps the group of axe wielders I talked about earlier held a secret items that will counter sword users. The bait is there, move the sword person in, and if you don't look, you're going to get punished, and maybe that's the point. If the player trusted in the weapon triangle too much, without being more analytical and tactical in their decision making, they are at risk from being manipulated by the game developers, but at least the end result is optimistic because now the developers have taught the players to be more careful. Hopefully. The weapon triangle will also influence the general makeup of your team composition, where you want a nice spread of weapon users that will cover all of the weaknesses and strengths that you need, nudging players to try out new classes and weapons. It makes the game much more consumer friendly, players can easily understand what type of decisions they should make at a glance, and generally be rewarded for it, and it also can be used by the developers to guide players to making the right decisions without telling them outright or by baiting them into a trap. It is a simple but effective tool to quickly teach players about strategy, and I'm all for it. Fire Emblem has another secret ingredient that keeps most players hooked. The weapon triangle actually feeds into this ingredient. If you want to learn more, check out this video on screen right now. My name is Varsona, and I'll see you in the next video.